They said she didn't belong there, that the rain would wash away her pride. But they had no idea who she really was, or the storm she'd soon bring with her. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The downpour hadn't stopped for hours. Mud swallowed her boots as Lieutenant Claire Dawson stood outside the base gate, drenched and trembling. Not from the cold, but from the humiliation. The men inside, soldiers she once trusted, had locked her out after a heated argument during a training drill. They laughed from behind the metal fence, their silhouettes faint under the flickering floodlights. "Maybe next time, Lieutenant," one of them sneered. "Go find a storm that listens." Claire said nothing. She just lowered her head, water streaming down her face. Or maybe those were tears. She thought she'd never come back. She was wrong. Hours passed before dawn broke. The rain had slowed to a whisper, but the sting of betrayal burned deep in her chest. Claire was a Navy SEAL support officer, one of the few women who had earned that rank after years of relentless endurance. She had led rescue ops, patched bleeding men in combat zones, and carried bodies through fire when no one else could. But inside that army outpost, none of it mattered. To them, she was just a woman with a title. And that morning, as she walked away through the muddy road, she decided something quietly, dangerously final. They wouldn't see her cry again. They'd see her lead. 3 days later, the storm returned. This time, she wasn't alone. The soldiers at the gate heard it before they saw it. The rhythmic, thundering sound of engines cutting through the rain. A black convoy approached from the east, headlights slicing the mist. Men ran out, confused, wiping water from their eyes. Then they saw the flag, blue trident, silver anchor, the unmistakable insignia of the U.S. Navy SEALs. And at the front of it all was Claire. Her uniform was pressed, soaked through at the shoulders, but her eyes burned steady, calm, commanding, untouchable. Behind her, 12 SEALs stepped out in formation, silent and still as shadows. The air around the base shifted. Even the rain seemed to pause. Lieutenant Dawson, one of the same men from before, stammered, What's going on?" She stopped in front of him, inches away, her voice quiet but razor sharp. "You locked me out in the rain. Now I'm here to bring you back in." Behind her, the SEAL team fanned out, a wall of discipline and loyalty. Within minutes, they were helping the same soldiers she'd once served with, fixing broken flood barriers, reorganizing supplies, repairing the generator that had been out for days. The mission wasn't revenge, it was redemption, but it was clear who commanded the respect now. As the rain slowed to a drizzle, the men who had mocked her stood silently by the gate, watching her lead the effort with precision and calm. One of them, Sergeant Mills, finally stepped forward. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "You didn't deserve that." Claire looked at him, expression unreadable. Then she said softly, "None of us did. But now you know. Strength doesn't shout. It shows up when no one else does." And for the first time, he understood. By sunset, the storm had passed. The convoy prepared to leave, the SEALs boarding their vehicles in disciplined silence. Claire turned one last time toward the base. The same men who once laughed now stood at attention, saluting. She didn't smile, but there was something peaceful in her eyes, a quiet forgiveness that spoke louder than any victory. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes the strongest storms don't destroy, they reveal who's truly built to stand in the rain. If this story moved you, take a second to share where you're watching from, and what you would have done in Claire's place. Don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this remind us, courage still lives in silence, and respect is always earned back in the storm.